Recording it.
Hello guys. So welcome to this class. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for the YouTube. If you're watching this video, kindly subscribe to my channel for the YouTube. So today I'm happy to be here. So we do what we love doing the most. So I hope you can see me and you can hear me quite very well. So today we're going to talk about time value of money. Time value of money. So the concept of time value of money. So that is all about it today. So without wasting time, let us rush into what the concept of time value of money. So when you talk about the concept of time value of money, then what we need to know is that the value of money keep on changing from time to time. So the value of money keep on changing from time to time. So the value of a shilling today will not be the same as the value of the same shilling tomorrow, and therefore the value of money keep on changing. But in most cases, it depreciates rather than appreciate. So the value of money keep on depreciating in most scenario, especially in developing countries. So you find a good example is some years back we used to have, we can buy a lot of stuffs with 1,000 shillings, but today the same 1,000 shillings cannot purchase the same amount of items that we used to purchase some years back. And therefore, that's why we are saying that the value of money keep on changing from time to time. Okay, let us define it. Let us define it, as you can see. It is a concept. It is a concept which tries to explain. It's a concept which tries to explain why individuals or investors prefer to receive their money today, prefers to receive their money today and not in the future. So that's the concept which tries to explain why individuals prefer to receive their money today rather than to receive. So a concept which tries to explain why individuals or investors prefer to receive their money today and not receive the same amount of money in the future, and not to receive the same amount in the future. The same amount in the future. That is all about it. So it tries to explain why individuals. So why do you think individuals prefer to receive their money today, not in the future? One of the things that individuals prefer to receive their money today, not in the future, is because of the aspect of that the currency might depreciate with the time. to the currency might depreciate in time, and therefore the same amount that you could have could have received today is not the same as that one in future in terms of purchasing power. So this concept tries to explain why individuals prefer to receive their cash today rather than to receive the same amount in future. As time passes, the value of money will change, and thus the purchasing power decline as the time passes due to inflation. So mostly due to also inflation. So you can see as time goes, the value of money declines, hence reducing its purchasing power. Hence, this may be due to inflation. This may be due to inflation. This may be due to inflation, which erodes the value of the currency. The value of the currency. And therefore, as an individual or an investor, I would prefer to receive that amount today and not in future. So reason why individuals prefers to receive money today, their cash today, and not in the future. So what are some of the reasons why individuals prefer to receive their money today and not in the future? Number one of the reasons why, because number one, the purchasing power of money declines as time goes due to factors such as inflation. That's number one. Number two, a person will prefer to receive their money today and not in the future so that they can take advantage of investment opportunity. Number one, in order to take advantage of investment opportunities available. Opportunities available now. And therefore, a person will prefer to receive that cash today. So, and therefore, an investor would prefer to receive that amount today. Number three. Next. A person will prefer to receive their cash today because of uncertainty. Uncertainty associated with future cash flows. So, for example, bad debts. A good example, i.e., bad debts. Now, a person will prefer to receive their money today, not in future, because the same amount, the person might be declared bankrupt within the process. And then that person will not be able to pay you. And then the last one, individual subjective nature. Individual individual subjective nature. Which is the individual subjective nature? Now, everyone knows that money is important. Ukirusha pesa kwa nini? Kwa barabara. So a person who is subjective or a normal person will pick that money. So, and therefore we are saying, because of the individual subjective nature. So this is how human beings are when it comes to money. So they tend to do anything to get that money. So in that situation, we can say that because of that reason also, we can conclude and say, so that's another reason. That's another reason. Let us see if we can add others. So nataka teremka hapo chini kidogo. So because I want to save space, so we need to take advantage of the space that we have. So shall allow me to shift the screen a bit that way. Now, do you have any other reason we can add? So now, I think those are the reasons. Let's talk about time preference of money. Let's talk about time preference of money. Time preference of money. We talk about time preference of money. Now, when we talk about time preference of money, it's the same concept that we use under the time value of money, but the only difference now it is the desire. Now, for the time value of money, we said that an individual, it's a concept which try to explain why individuals prefer money today and not in the future. But when we talk about time preference of money, then we are saying it's the desire that an individual will prefer to receive their money today and not in the future. So the keyword is the word desire. So for time value of money, we said that it's just a concept which tries to explain why individuals prefer money today. So it's the concept which tries. But time preference of money, then we can conclude and say that this is the desire that an individual or an investor have when it comes to money. So why reason why they prefer to receive their money today and not in the future. So we can write or we can add. So we can add kidogo tu. Ni kama inaonekana what it is. Sawa. Tatu nifunge mlango. Niko nataka nione hiyo mwangaza ikuwe mingi but it might affect. So let's go with that one in tunatumia. So we can say refers to the desire. Refers to the desire. So the keyword is the word desire in this case. Refers to the desire. So refers to the desire that an individual or an investor would prefer receive their money today, not in future. Receive their money today and not in the future. And not in future. So tunasema this is the desire that an individual or an investor. So a desire that an individual or an investor or an investor would prefer to receive their money today and not the same amount of money in the future, and not the same amount of money in the future, the same amount of money in the future, and not the same amount of money in the future. Now, it is categorized into two. So, categorized into two. Number one, we talk about discounting technique. Discounting technique. And number two, compounding. Compounding technique. So compounding technique. So it is divided into two: discounting technique and compounding technique. We start with the discounting technique. Discounting technique. Discounting technique. So let me now do Rudy Pareju. So discounting technique, I hope inaonekana. Hapo. So tunaenda discounting technique. So what is discounting technique and what does it entail? Now, when you convert future cash flows to present value, then the process of converting those future cash flows to present value is what we call the discounting technique. Then you have the compounding technique. Now, the compounding technique is the process of converting present value to future value. Converting the present value to future value. So you can say this so we can say this is a technique. This is a technique which is used to determine present values of cash flows, of cash inflows from future values of cash flows. Tunasema this is the technique which is used to determine the present value of cash inflows from the future value of cash flow. Or you can say this involves determining the present value of future cash flows. So this is a technique which is used to determine the present value of cash inflows from the future value of cash inflows, the future value of cash inflows. Cash. Let's just do the word cash flow to see the limit inflow or cash flow. Let's just say cash flows, which can be either an inflow or an outflow, which can either be an inflow. So tunasema the process of determining those values. the present value. So that process is what we call the discounting. Now, so present value, let's define what is present value of cash flow. Present value of cash flow. We can say this is the actual value of cash flow today or at year zero. At year zero, at the start of the project. So at year zero, which is at the start of the project. At year zero, which is at the start of the project. So this is the actual cash flow. This is the actual cash flow. This is the actual value of the cash flow today. This is the actual value of cash flows today or at year zero. So at year zero, at the beginning of a particular campaign of a project, at the beginning of a particular campaign of a project. So number A, we start with the present value of, so present value of a single amount. Then number A, present value of single amount. Now, present value will be given by future value 1 plus R is to negative N. Negative N, where R, discounting rate, our N is number of periods, PV, present value, FV, future value. Future value. Now, we can also say that PV, present value, is equal to future value multiplied with present value inflow. Not present value interest factor, particular period N at a particular rate %. So this one is the present. So PV, PVI, FN, then at a particular rate, this is the present value. Present value interest factor for N period at a particular rate. So we don't know the rate, so we can look at a particular rate, at a particular discounting rate. So that's all about it. So that is all about it. Now, let me see kama tunaweza pata a good example. So for one factor, for one period, do you have any question for one period? So we can say, what can we say? So you can say given illustration given that cash inflows at year 5 is 10,000, comma, full stop. Find the present value of the cash inflow. Find the present value of cash inflows. So find the present value of cash inflows. Given that R is 10%. Given that R is 10%. So how do we find it? So solution. So this it only occur at only year 5. So this one is only a cash flow from year 5. So it is a single amount in year 5. So you can say that the present value is equal to future value 1 plus R is negative N, which you can say it is. So our present value is equal to 10,000 to bracket 1 plus 0.1. So our N is 5. So our N is 5. So what will be that amount? So what will be that amount? So the amount will be equal to what? So 1 plus 0.1 raised to negative 5, then multiply with 10,000. So the amount will be equal to around 6,000 today, 209.21. So that will be the amount today. So from year 5 to today, the amount will be equal to that figure. So we continue without wasting time. So I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste any time. So I think hapo iko sawa. Now it's visible. Now, so another way you can do this, one, you can use the table, the discounting table. So another way to do this one is to use the discounting table. So I had one here in the So the discounting table is iko hapo nyuma in your past paper. So for every sitting, so they provide the table with you. So for every sitting, they usually provide with you one. So if you open your past paper, but now before we so you can open your past paper and then you open your past paper ilienda wapi? No, nimeipata. So mine it is here. So we have two kind of a table here. So kama nyinyi mnaweza ona. So but if you have one kwa past paper hapo nyuma, I want to show you something. Now, hapo. Now, we have this kind of of a table. Sijui kama inaonekana ikiwa hapo. So tuko na moja ya hapa juu. You can see we have one here. This one. Then tuko na nyingine hapa chini. So hii juu hapo juu ameandika. So ukiangalia hizi table hapa juu ameandika present value interest factor of one received at the end of n period. Ndio hii hapa. Ndio inawaambia hapa it is for a single amount. Mostly for a single amount. Or where, so apart from it being a single amount, we can say that you receive a single amount, but in different amount in each period. And therefore that one we shall use the upper table, which are meant to quantify present value interest factor of one received at the end of n period at R%. At R%, then I'm going to formula hapo 1 plus R is negative n. So this one is for a single amount. For a single amount. Now we can also use the same table to do this one. Now let's do it. Or you can use the table. Now our present value is equal to 10,000. Now we go to 10% kwa our table hapa juu. Kwa hii line hapa juu kiangalia kwa hii line we have 10%. Then you have period kwa hii inateremka. So unaenda unareplicate your 10% hapa juu. For example kama yangu iko hapa hivi. Then unateremka chini unafika kwa period 5. So kwa period 5 na kwenye 10% napatania 0.6209. 0.6209. Once you get that one, you can get the answer as 6,209 as the present value. So that one is for any period where we have only a single. So when you have a single amount in a particular period, and that amount only appear in that period, then this is the formula to use. 1 plus R raised to n raised to -1. Also, this formula, it is applicable also where we have different amount in various periods. So napata year 1 uko na 10,000, year 2 11,000, year 3 12,000, year 4 13,000, and so on mpaka year 5. So each year you are receiving amount, but the amount are different. Then you also use the one for the n period. So table ya juu 1 plus R is -1. Now let us continue. Let us give an example so that we can do a question. Now let us talk about present value of deferred annuity. Present value of deferred annuity. Talk about present value of deferred annuity. So present value of deferred annuity. Now we can say occurs when the cash flows in early years are not the same. So occurs where the cash flows in early years are not the same. Are not the same, but they become the same in between the project's life. But becomes the same in between project project life. So occurs where the cash flows in the early years are not the same, but becomes the same in between the project life, in between the project life, in between the project life. So how do we do that one? So example or illustration. So example or illustration. So unaenda kuifanyia pale. So example or illustration. Sawa sawa. I think hapo iko sawa. So let us do it. Sawa sawa. Now illustration. Illustration. You can say what? Consider a 5 years project which promises the following cash flow. So considers 5 years project which promises the following cash flows. So we have yes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have cash inflows. So 15,000, 20,000. Then the other one tend to become stable. 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. So required, determine present value. So required, determine the present value. So determine present value. Determine present value using 10% as discounting rate. So determine present value using 10% as discounting rate. So one of the methods we can use, method 1, so one of the methods we can use is that we can use this formula. We can say present value is equals to 1 plus r is negative n. Now we can get our present value. Let us get it. So 15,000. We convert it to present value 0.1 raised to minus 1 plus the next one is 20,000. 1 plus 0.1 raised to negative 2. Then you have 30,000. We have 30,000. 1 plus 0.1 is negative 3. We add also the next one. 30,000. 1 plus 0.1 is negative 4. And then also 30,000. 1 plus 0.1 is negative 5. Now we shall get the present value in that case. You shall get the present value in that case. And when you use this one, the present value will be equal to to what figure? To be equal to inside our calculator, we shall get approximately 91,823. 91,823. So 91,823. So that's the number one. Or you can say to use the table, or you can decide to use the table. So you can decide. You can decide to use the table. Okay. Let us see if we decide to use the table. Now, if we decide to use the table, now we shall have our years. Yes. So we have years. You have year 1, year 2. But from year 3 to 4, they are the same. So year 3 to 5. Then you have our cash flows. So you have 15,000. We have 20,000. We have 30,000. Now from year 3 to 4 and 5, the cash flow are the same, which is 30,000. Which is 30,000. That one. Now, once to get the cash flow, we can get our present value inflow. Present value inflow factors. Present value interest factor, I mean. We can get our present value interest factor. Now we can get from our table. Let's go to our table. And from our table, if we go to 10% year 1, so 10% year 1 is 0.9091. 0.9091. Year 2, 0.82. 64. Now, but between year 3 to 5, the cash flows are the same. The cash flows are the same. Now, when you have the same cash flow, then you don't use the end period table. Tunatumia ya chini imeandikwa present value interest factor for annuity. So we assume those items are annuity, meaning the cash flows are the same from time to time. So from year 3 to 5, the cash flows are the same, and therefore we use the lower table. Now, how do we get the present value inflow factor? So tunasema hivi, present value, sorry, interest factor for period 5. So ukitaka kupata ya 3 to 5, where to get this figure? Interest factor for year 3 to 5 itakuja hapa. We want to get this figure itakuja hapo. So what do? We take the present value inflow factor for year 5, but remember it is annuity. Remember it is annuity. So but 10% less present value inflow factor for now. We don't rest for year 3, we rest for the year in year 3. That is year 2. For annuity, rate in 10%. Let's go to our table. So kwa table na kwa 10% for year 5, it is 3.7908. So 3.7908 to minus year 2. So year 2 ni ngapi? 1.7125. 1.7125. 1.7125. So how much is that? 1.7125. 1.7125. So itakuwa ni 3.7908 minus 1.7. 1.7125. 1.7125. So that one will be equal to 2.0783. Tunasema 3.7908 minus 1.7. Kwani minus aje? 3.7908 minus 1.7. 1.7. Well, let me check again. 1.7355. This is 1.7355. Nimetoa wapi? Then it's 355. So 1.7355. Itakuwa ni 2 point. So this figure 2.0553. So ndio inakuja hapa. So 2.0553. Now we get present value now hapa. Present value. So tunachukua 15,000. The model is the first one 0.9091, which is 13. 636.56, that is 6.5. We have 20,000 times 0.82, 64, which is 16,528. Then you have that on 30,000 times 2.05, 553, which is 61,659. So tukiadd tunachukua 13,636.5 plus 16,528 plus 61,659. 918, 23.5. So that is 91,822. So inakuwa the same answer. So the same answer. So it will give you the same answer. It will give you the same answers. Now, I want us to continue. So we continue. So that's all about deferred annuity. So deferred annuity, deferred annuity. It's a occur where the cash flows at every period are the same, then they tend to change at the year end. Now, let us go to talk about present value of an annuity in perpetuity. Present value of an annuity in perpetuity. Now, do you go? So present value of an annuity in perpetuity. So present value of an annuity in perpetuity. So tunarudi to our original space. Go back to our original space. So hapo sumbua kidogo hapa. Think hapo ni visible. Sawa sawa. So we wrap this side. So we wrap this side. So present value